Have you ever noticed how some mornings you wake up clear and full of energy, and other days you open your eyes already tired and unmotivated? Why does this happen? Why can one morning feel unstoppable and the next feel heavy before you even get out of bed? And is there a way to change it, to wake up motivated and focused without forcing yourself? For thousands of years, philosophers have said the way we begin the day shapes who we become. Now, Stanford scientists are showing why. In the brief state right after sleep, the hypnopompic window, your brain is still flexible. Memory and motivation networks are wide open and setting the tone for everything that will follow. So how does your brain actually work in the first minute after waking? Why is that moment so powerful for motivation? And how can you use it to prime yourself for clarity and drive instead of drifting into autopilot? That's what we'll explore today. You'll see what ancient thinkers already understood, what modern research from Stanford reveals about your brain each morning, and finally, a simple 1-minute practice you can use right after waking to start the day clear, focused, and ready, without any fake hacks or forced willpower. Why does the way we wake up feel so powerful? Maybe you've had mornings when the alarm goes off, you reach for your phone without thinking, scroll half awake, and already feel behind before even standing up. Other times you've opened your eyes with a sense of calm or purpose, as if the day is waiting for you. Why is there such a difference? Can the first few minutes really decide everything that follows? Long before science had words like neuroplasticity or cortisol awakening response, philosophers were paying attention to this. Aristotle believed that who we become is shaped by what we repeatedly do. To him, habits weren't small tasks. They were the building blocks of character. He taught that if you start your day in a way that builds courage or discipline, you slowly become courageous and disciplined. Morning wasn't just the start of a schedule. It was the start of identity. The Stoics took this even further. Epictetus wrote that we don't control events, but we control how we respond to them, and the mind should be prepared each day before life begins to test it. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by reminding himself of the challenges he would face and the kind of person he wanted to be when they arrived. For him, the first thoughts after waking were a rehearsal for resilience, not random noise. Centuries later, William James, often called the father of modern psychology, described attention as the great sculptor of the self. He said our life is what we agree to attend to. He believed habits are powerful because they capture our attention over and over until they become identity. If the first thing you feed your mind each day is distraction or defeat, you train yourself to stay scattered. If the first thing is purpose or calm, you begin to live from that place. These thinkers didn't know about brain scans or hormones, but they sensed something real. Mornings are soft clay. The first moments set a pattern that hardens as the day goes on. If you wake and drift, you teach your mind to drift. If you wake and choose direction, you begin training it to follow that lead. But here's the problem most of us face. We don't use this moment on purpose. We wake up and hand our brain to the phone, to emails, to whatever noise arrives first. And then we wonder why motivation feels out of reach. The philosophers would say, you just rehearse distraction. Modern science has caught up to this ancient intuition. Today, we know the first minute after waking is a unique window. Your brain isn't fully on guard yet. It's still open, shaping how the rest of the day will feel. In a moment, we'll look at what Stanford researchers have found about this fragile state, how motivation circuits, memory, and even emotion can be influenced right as you wake. And then we will use that knowledge to design a 1-minute ritual that primes your day for focus and drive without force. So what does modern science say about this soft clay moment right after waking? Neuroscientists at Stanford and other universities have been studying what happens in the brain as we move from sleep to full alertness. They call this the hypnopompic state, the short, fragile window when you're no longer fully asleep but not yet fully awake. It's a biological transition where memory and motivation networks are still flexible. During this phase, your brain is replaying and organizing what happened yesterday. The hippocampus, the brain as memory librarian, is deciding what to keep and what to let fade. Emotional centers are assigning meaning to those memories, deciding whether today should feel safe, hopeful, or heavy. At the same time, a powerful hormonal shift called the cortisol awakening response begins. Cortisol isn't just a stress hormone. In healthy levels, it's like an ignition switch, helping you feel alert, ready to move, and able to focus. If this natural surge is paired with clear direction, it fuels motivation. If it's met with chaos, scrolling, stress, worry, it can set a scattered or anxious tone for the whole day. Matthew Walker and other sleep scientists have shown that both memory and mood are especially malleable right after waking. Andrew Huberman at Stanford explains that this early window is when the brain is most ready to decide how the day will feel. Light exposure, breath, and the first mental inputs you feed yourself strongly influence attention and drive. Think of it like booting a computer. In those first seconds, the operating system is loading. It's deciding what programs run in the background. If you feed it calm focus, that becomes the default. If you feed it noise and panic, that becomes the default too. Your identity, how capable, energized, or defeated you feel, isn't fully locked when you open your eyes. It's still negotiating. This doesn't mean you can magically transform everything in one morning. It means you have an opening, a short period where your nervous system is receptive and your brain's motivational circuits are wiring for the day ahead. Simple intentional actions, a breath pattern, a grounding phrase, a clear mental picture can shape how alert and driven you feel without forcing willpower later. What's powerful about this is that it fits perfectly with what philosophers intuited. Aristotle and the Stoics didn't know about the cortisol awakening response, but they knew mornings mold character. William James didn't talk about synapses, but he knew attention first thing shapes who you become. Now, neuroscience explains why. The transition from sleep to wake is a natural prime time for learning and motivation. In a moment, we'll use this knowledge to build a 1-minute morning ritual. It's not about tricking your brain or repeating empty affirmations. It's about calming your body, giving your mind a clear cue, and letting biology work in your favor so you can wake up motivated and focused without pushing through resistance all day. We've seen tonight that mornings are not neutral. Philosophers like Aristotle said we become what we repeatedly do. The Stoics reminded us to prepare the mind before the day begins. And William James taught that what we attend to first shapes who we are. Modern science has caught up. Stanford researchers show that right after waking, the brain is still flexible. Memory and motivation networks are loading, the cortisol awakening response is giving you energy, and the first inputs you offer decide much of the day's tone. So instead of giving this moment to distraction or stress, you can use it to prime motivation and focus naturally, without forcing yourself through sheer willpower. Let's turn this idea into a simple 1-minute ritual. When you wake up tomorrow, don't grab your phone right away. Stay where you are, close your eyes for a moment, and take one slow, deep breath in through your nose for 4 counts. Hold gently for 2, then exhale through your mouth for 6. Do this 3 times. This calms the nervous system and keeps the rational parts of your brain online as motivation circuits wake up. Next, bring to mind the day you want to have. See one thing you need to focus on, maybe a project, a conversation, or a healthy choice. Picture yourself doing it with clarity and calm drive. Now whisper a short phrase that captures that state. Something like, I move with focus. I choose clarity, or today I create momentum. Say it softly or think it firmly once or twice while breathing slowly. Finally, open your eyes and let natural light in if possible, even the light from a window. This simple cue helps set your body as internal clock and reinforces alertness and motivation for the hours ahead. This ritual works because it aligns with what your brain is already doing. Slow breathing signals safety, light anchors your circadian rhythm, and a clear phrase during the hypnopompic window nudges memory and motivation networks as they form the day's pattern. You're not forcing yourself to feel driven. You're catching the brain before autopilot locks in and giving it direction. Imagine a week from now. Each morning, instead of drifting into distraction, you've spent 1 intentional minute setting the tone. Tasks feel lighter because your brain woke up knowing where to aim. Focus comes easier and motivation feels less like a fight. Over time, these first minutes can reshape how you start every day. If you try this tomorrow, notice how the day feels different and share your experience in the comments. Your insight might help someone else. And if this video helps you wake up with more focus and drive, subscribe now. Each video here blends ancient wisdom and modern neuroscience to help you reprogram your mind and create the life you want, one morning at a time.